Director of Instruction at the Golf Center at the Highlands, and today I want to talk to you about dialing your club face in the bunker. What do I mean by that? Well, in the bunker you've got three different lies. You've got a ball that sits on top of the sand, it just rolls in, sits up nice and pretty for you. You've got a ball that maybe hops into the sand and gets partially buried, and then you've got this horrible lie, the buried lie. Well, I'm not going to use the club face the same way for all of these lies. The reality is, the way the sand wedge is designed, it has this feature called a flange with bounce on it. Bounce is really a poor name for it. It's really how the flange is designed, the angle to which the sole is designed so that it helps us get the ball out of the sand. You see, sand is kind of loose and free, so as we're doing this, you notice that the sand, when it goes through my hands, it just goes everywhere. So when I make a great big swing in the bunker, sand goes all over the place, so most of the energy of my swing goes everywhere. And worse yet, if I use the club face wrong, I can get the club face into the sand too much and not have enough energy to get the ball out. Far too often I see that here in the bunker. So what we want to do is we want to learn how to dial the club face based upon our conditions. Okay, so by conditions I mean the lie, the type of sand, and the player's speed. In my case, I'm fairly high speed in the bunker, so I open the club face a tremendous amount. If you're a lower club head speed player, you won't open it quite as much, and I'm talking about this first lie, this nice lie in the bunker. If you're really low club head speed, you might want to play it with a square club face. So we've got to deal with this from the basis of your speed. We're also dealing with it from the standpoint of sand conditions. This is nice powdery sand. It's fairly dry, pretty easy to make a swing through it and get the club to dig a little bit, so I'm going to take some sand without any trouble. What happens if you walk into the bunker, start to dig your feet in, and there's nothing underneath there? Got a very thin layer of sand, or it's very firm, wet sand. Well, that changes the parameters of things here. I don't want to open the face as much. You see, opening the club face exposes the bounce of the club, which allows this back part of the club, this flange, to help the club kind of skid through the sand. If this leading edge portion gets in there first, the club tends to dig. I see an awful lot of people make bunker swings that look like this. Well, it looked like I threw the sand a long ways, but there was so much energy down, that ball would pop up and go a very short distance and stop. So it's not going to get out of the bunker. Goal number one in here, get it out of the bunker. So we use the club face differently. We open the club face so that when we make that steep swing, suddenly the club skids along the sand. That's our priority here. Skid it along the sand. Guess what? When that ball's partially buried, I can't do that because I might not get the club to go low enough to get underneath it. Now I might, but a low club head speed, slow club head speed player, or in wet sand, if you open the face a lot, that club's not going to get under the ball. With a buried lie, we simply have to dial the thing closed because we got to really make this club dig to get underneath the ball. So let's see how this works. So now we have these three lies, sitting on top, partially buried, fully buried. Let's see what I do with the club face and how I make this work. I really want you to focus on how the club goes through the sand here. I'm going to open the club face pretty severely for this first one. Now I really thumped the sand on that one. I really let the back of this club thump the sand. I didn't let the leading edge dig. That might be a problem for this next one. This divot's only maybe an inch thick, inch deep, and I went down pretty hard at it. This ball's at least 3/4 of an inch under the sand. I'd be a little concerned about maybe getting some click if I tried to do it with an open club face. So I square the club face because I need the club to dig a little bit. I literally just picked it up and hit down. And if you look real close, if you can zoom in here, you're going to get shallow, deeper. I need it deeper, the ball's under the ground. Now guess what? I got this buried lie. This one's dangerous. This one's really buried. So what am I going to do? Well, everybody looks at it and goes, well, you got these wood ties in front. You got to get the ball up in the air. You got to open the club face to get the ball up in the air. The ball doesn't know whether the face is open or closed. It doesn't have any idea. The reality is I need to close the face so the club will dig enough to pop the ball out. In my case, I'm going to get a little carried away. That's probably 75 degrees closed. Now I hit the shot that way to show you. I tried to play that shot with a club face that was extremely closed. Did you notice where the ball went? It stayed over there to the right side of the green. It didn't go to the left. The golden rule in the green side bunker is no ball club contact. The ball had no idea the club face was closed. What it knew was that the sand was going that way when I hit it. So the path of my swing has more to do with the direction the ball goes than the angle of my face in the bunker. The angle of the face is dialed specifically to the lie of the ball and the conditions. Wet sand, we don't dial it as much. And the fact of the matter is, in the wet powder or the wet hard pack sand, you're not going to see a buried lie. So we're dealing with more on top of the sand situations. When we get in this powdery sand, beach sand in a lot of cases, we've got to open the club face to expose the bounce to get that club to keep from digging too much. And we don't open it as much as the ball gets deeper into the sand, to the point where we actually close it pretty good when it gets buried. Get in the bunker, practice. This is one of my favorite places to spend time. I know this is going to help you.